Hey y'all, hey, it's another episode of Bonafide Her Podcast featuring the one and only David Pino.
Sir, yes, sir. I'm glad to be on here. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just got back home, so I'm chilling. Yeah.
Don't we love to be back home, don't we?
Yeah, most definitely. Being at home is definitely gives you that peaceful mindset. You just get to kind of calm down, do your own things. So I'm grateful when I'm at home. I enjoy those times of peace. So yeah.
I know that's right. So let's get it started. So, David, can you tell us your sports story to how you got to where you are?
Yeah, most definitely. So I've been playing basketball since I was actually 7. I would say like competitively. I remember like vividly. I was watching Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals in 2009, when LeBron James was playing the Orlando Magic, and he hit that game winner. He caught the ball like it was a sideline throw. He caught the ball and like faded away, hit the game winner, and like after that, I thought he was like Superman. I'm not gonna lie, like it was the craziest like moment I had ever seen. And so after that, like I remember I picked up a basketball and I went outside and I started practicing. Like I just started dribbling, try to go behind my back, try to recreate the shot. In the cul-de-sac, there was like a little basketball hoop where everybody used to play. So I just would go out there and like I would play a lot. And then yeah. And so to be honest, going from there, I did a lot of sports before I fully committed to basketball. I was actually better at soccer, honestly speaking. I was better at soccer up until like I was 13 or 14 because I was kind of on the shorter end for a while. So I kept sticking with soccer and basketball, and then I finally pulled the trigger on basketball when it was time to come to high school. So prior to that, I was playing AAU, but I was also doing soccer at the same time too. So it was a good balance. I think that helped me a lot with footwork, definitely, and just like court vision. But so once I got to high school, my first year, I remember I was like 5'8", 5'9", and so I wasn't athletic at all. Like I know people now be like they'll probably see me dunking all the time and like all that. Like no, it wasn't always like that. It was definitely not always like that. So I remember I was 14 and it was time to try out for JV, and I was nervous. Like I was nervous. I was like, yo, like I might not make this team. And so I remember I spoke with my mom. We were coming back home from one of the summer workouts, like preseason workouts, and I told her like I voiced my concern about what was going on, and she didn't stop the car because we were on the highway, but like she like turned the music off, everything, and she just spoke to me to like have confidence in myself, and like whatever I want to do, like give it up in the name of God. So that was like the biggest thing to me. And once I did that, like I obviously made the team. From that point on, like midway through the season, I progressed slowly because I kept putting in that work, being disciplined, and so I went from like barely playing at first to like being like an integral part of the team, like leading and scoring, like being the reason we was winning games. So it was just like I went from like the bottom, like, and just slowly started climbing up, and that was all attributable though to definitely hard work and discipline. And at the time, I had met one of my coaches at the time, who's like my mentor to this day, Carl Baxter. I got to give a huge shout out to him. So he's from Jamaica, or his family's from Jamaica. He grew up in the Raleigh Durham area, and he saw me like from the little kid and like took me in and started training me, and that's really where I took that leap. So for after that freshman year, the JV season ended off all right, mediocre season, but I definitely progressed a lot, and so that following summer, at this time I'm still like 5'9", 5'10", kind of. And so that following summer, I remember like every single day, Coach Baxter, Carl Baxter, would pick me up from my house, and we would be in the gym all day, like all day. Like it was times where I was like, yo, like I don't even know if I could do all this. Like I didn't even eat. Like nah, he would just come and pick me up. Like even if I was playing all day, like I would be around basketball all day. And then that summer, it was time for team camp, and right before then, I'm pretty sure I was playing AAU, I think, or it was a preseason workout, one of those two, and I landed wrong on my left wrist, like right here, and I broke my wrist. It was a small little hairline fracture, but I broke my wrist, And I was like, yo, there's no way. Like, I've been putting in all this work, and like it was time, like for everybody, like, I'm ready, like I'm ready, I'm here. And so I went down. Uh, I was kind of like taken aback and like looking up at the sky, like, yo, this happened. After that, once I broke my wrist, like it was less than this because I shot up like 5 inches, like 5 to 6 inches, like that. Like to the summer, like 5 like, by the time school started back around, I was like 6'3", 6'4". So it was crazy. If my math is wrong on there for anybody watching, I'm sorry, but y'all know what I meant. Like I just shot. So anyway, so then after that summer, like I was like, all right, I'm ready to do this loose thing. I'm ready.
Oh, no. We have a technical difficulty, y'all, but he should be back. Um, but he should be back. David should be back. Just got technical difficulties in the way, so please be patient, y'all. We still here, of course. We still here, so want to make sure everybody knows that we still here. We still live. Um, so I will say this podcast, like I said, is always raw and real. So sometimes things like this happens at times. So, um, yay. Okay.
All right, that was me or what happened? That was probably me, but I apologize. I apologize.
Oh, you good? I was letting folks know like he'll be back.
Okay.
I always say my podcast is always raw and real. Sometimes things like this happen, but it makes it, that's
Mm,
what makes my podcast be the raw and realist. So it
yeah,
happens. So, but
for sure. Yeah.
continue what you were saying.
Okay. Yeah. So to pretty much keep going back as to what happened after then, like after that summer, I went and I thought I was gonna be on varsity. Like I was getting ready to try out for varsity. Preseason workouts came around, and like I felt like I was ready. Like I had shot up in height. Like I felt like it was time. And I remember the head coach at the time like pulled me to the side and he was like, "Yeah, like I've definitely noticed you put in work. Like you definitely progressed a lot, but I don't think it would do justice to you to put you on to the varsity team when they were senior heavy." And like he wanted me to get more playing time at the time, right? So he was like when the time comes, we'll pull you up to varsity. So obviously, I'm not gonna lie, like that didn't sit well with me. I was mad at the time for that because I was like, you know what, like, and he told me he was like, you definitely are one of the best 15 players in this program, but I don't think it would be justice to you to not really play that much um on varsity. So instead, you can do your thing on JV, and then we'll pull you up when the time comes. So I remember after that, like I kid you not, like I was hot. I was pretty mad. And the first game like came around for JV, I went like ballistic. Like it was crazy. Like I was pulling up for three like everywhere. Like it was just crazy. Like definitely had a chip on my shoulder. So the season progressed though. We went undefeated, and then towards the end of the season, like I got pulled up to varsity. And I was able to practice with those guys, and sometimes even during the season, actually, I was able to practice with those guys. And actually the second or third game of the season they had injuries and the football players were gone, so I played, or I didn't play, but I was on varsity like the second or third game of the season there my sophomore year. So from there the summer came around, AAU came around. I was playing at the time for Charlotte Dragons, I believe. Yeah, the Charlotte Dragons. And so AU season went smooth. Came out back around, and then junior year started up, and I actually did really well that AU summer. And junior year came back around, and like at this time, like I was trying to make a push for like the state title, because I was like I felt like this team that we had was nice. So season gets ready to start back up, and right before the season starts, bam, like preseason workouts, I get into it. I fall into my teammate, and we like hit each other's heads, and we both get concussions. Like right before the season was getting ready to start. Like right before the season was getting ready to start. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And so we're out a couple of games, and I'm just like, yo, like come on, like we needed this to start the season off right. So we're out a couple of games, and the games were out. I think our team ends up like going like 1-6 or something to start the season off, like something crazy. Because like on top of us being out, there's football players that haven't returned at the time. Because I don't know how they do it now, but the seasons used to conflict. So there's football players that haven't returned at the time. So I'm just like, dang, like this team was supposed to be nice. Like this was supposed to be our team, and we're starting like 1-6, like something crazy. So we finally get back. Football players come back, and like the first game, everybody's back. It's a tight game against Audrey Kell, and we lose that game. So now it's like, yo, what's going on? Like, like, yo, like, who really are we? Like, are we about to be a sorry team? Like, we went from, like supposed to be having a really nice team to now we're getting ready to be sorry. I'm like, nah, this is like, this can't go down like this. Yeah. So at that point, we we turned it up. We turned it up, and there was no looking back from there. Like I think we won something like 20 something games in a row. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. Like yeah, we didn't. We literally turned it up like 20 something games in a row, and like it was game winners too though. Like it was down to the wire. I think that season I hit 2 game winners. They put me in the newspaper. My boy Jack Dortch, he hit a game winner. There was somebody else who hit a game winner. I can't remember out, but it was just crazy. Like we turned it completely around, and then so the playoffs rolled through, and our seeding obviously isn't the best considering we lost all those games at the beginning of the season, and so we get a decent seeding, I guess, but like we have a hard road to the playoffs, to the state championship, which is our goal. So the playoffs start around, and I think we played. I want to say Kings and Mountain or somebody the first round. But long story short, though, in the beginning of the game, like I was playing trash. Like I was not playing good. I wasn't playing good. And then like I remember my coach, my assistant coach at the time, Coach Jordan, like pulled me to the side. He was like, "Yo, like David, like I mean, I'm not gonna say exactly what he said, but pretty much it was like tighten up, like tighten up." And it was like tighten up, like you got to tighten up. And then after that, like I turned it around. I actually like ended up leading and scoring with like 23 points to win that game. And like it was just like a complete turnaround. And then after that, I forget who we played, but so we make it past those I think first 3 rounds, like the first 3 games we win. I remember that. And then so we're getting ready to play at the time it was Southwest Guilford. They had 2 twins at the time, the Langley brothers. I think no, it
Oh
was yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
those.
so yeah, nah, they were cold. They were very cold, very cold.
It's like Kobe and Key Sean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That sounds right. That sounds right. But so yeah, we're getting ready to play them. And the game before that though, it was against. I want to. Maybe I gave you the wrong name first. Maybe the game I got hurt, which is what I'm getting ready to say, was against Kings Mountain. Right before we're getting ready to play Southwest Guilford. So yes, yes, because the first round game was Ashbrook. That was the one Coach Jordan yelled at me. And then the other game where I got hurt was Kings Mountain. And I same kind of situation, but so towards the end of the game, I like fall on my knee, like I fall and then like I land and my knee like turns in, and I'm thinking it's fine because like I have been dealing with knee pain, growing pain, and just over the course of the season you have nagging knee pain. But unfortunately, I like tore my meniscus. Like, come to find out, I tore my meniscus right before the game against Southwest Guilford. So I'm sitting there, and this is around the same time that I think there was a school dance or something. So like I'm not thinking too much of it. I'm trying to go to the school dance or whatever. So I'm like, what, it's probably fine or whatever. But then like so after the game I went over to my friend's house and like my knee was swollen up. I was like, whoa, like yeah, no, something's not right. And I was like, you know what, maybe it'll swell back down tomorrow. They did not swell back down tomorrow. They did not swell back down tomorrow. So yeah, long story short, my meniscus was torn at that point, so I wasn't able to play against the Southwest Guilford team, and like it was a tough moment, having to sit there on the bench knowing like you can't contribute to the team. So that was like a very pivotal point in my like career because I was like, dang, like like what's about to happen? Like is this where how am I gonna bounce back from this? Like this is definitely a turnaround or a point in my life where I'm gonna have to like turn it completely around because I'm back to square one. Like I can't even jump. I can't even dunk anymore. Like it's crazy. So season ends right there. We all credit to Southwest Guilford. We lose that game. Um, and then senior year comes around, and I bounced back that summer. I actually played very well. We went to the Peach Jam Invitational that summer, and I bounced back from my meniscus injury like quick. My knee was still swell up, but I bounced back quick, and because it was just a meniscectomy they had to do, so they just clipped out a bit of the meniscus, and then I bounced back quick. So I remember we go down to Peach Jam, and like at this point, it's same situation. I'm like trying to prove everybody wrong, like I still got it, and we go down and we play Bradley Beal Elite. I'll never forget this game because we played Bradley Beal Elite, and I'm pretty sure he was either there at the Peach Jam because they have like the Peach Jam in the actual like Augusta Gym, and then they have the Invitational where it's like gyms like right by it. So you're trying to classify into the Peach Jam. So either him or his homeboy were there. I don't know. Point is, like, once we saw Bradley Beal Elite, you see an NBA name and you're trying to play serious, play well. So we go in there, and I'm like, all right, like this is it. Like it's time to prove myself again. And I went in there and I did what I was supposed to do. Um, we won that game. Played one of the best games in my AAU career. Not high scoring. I think I finished with like 21 points, but it was still just like all around a good performance defensively and offensively. So like the rest of the summer, I just keep doing my thing, and I played really well the rest of the summer in the local tournaments here in North Carolina, South Carolina, and in the other big tournaments like big shot tournaments, EYBL, the Peach Jam Invitational, all that. I played well. I actually played some tournaments that summer too with like other teams like in different circuits, but just like a game or two where they needed a player. So, but yeah. So that summer goes around, and then the senior year. So I'm ready to kill again, and I start the season off crazy, like crazy. Like I'm just going crazy. Start the season off well. We played Ardrey Kell, and to start that season off, I'm pretty sure I had like it was like a 30 point, like close to a 30 point triple double to start first game of senior year. Like it was crazy. It was something crazy. Unfortunately though, we did end up losing that game. We did end up losing that game in overtime, 77-74. I remember it because the last play, I was supposed to give my boy Jack Dortch the ball, but he was covered. So I took the three, and I felt like I got fouled, and they didn't call it. So that was a tough loss, but it gave us momentum, and we bounced back from it and kept going and finished the season off like very well. I think we lost 3 games. 3 games. It was that RGCO game. We lost 1 game in the Christmas tournament, down in that was Atlanta, and then I think we lost 1 game to Weddington. I think that was it. I think we lost 3 games. It was like 3 or 4 games throughout the regular season, and then after that, it's time to go to the playoffs. And we same situation as junior year. We make it all the way there, and it's time. This time we play. It was a team from the mountains, but it wasn't Kings Mountain. I can't remember the name of the team right now off the top of my head, but I should. It was Hunter Huss. Hunter Huss. Hunter Huss. That's who we go to play, and we get there, and I get in a foul trouble quick. I pick up 2 quick fouls, so I sit out like the I would say like midway through the first and like the majority of the second. And they had a player on that team whose name I can't tell you because on the scouting report, like he wasn't a big target on the scouting report. I think he broke the state record for threes that day or something crazy. Like he was pulling up from the volleyball line, pulling up from everywhere. It was the craziest thing like I had seen. So by the time like I'm over there like telling my assistant coach, my head coach, I'm like, yo, like I got to get back in the game. Like I'm trying to get back in the game. Like if not, like when y'all put me in, it's not gonna matter. Like this guy's going crazy. So we get back in the game, we claw back, but unfortunately we come up short. So that was definitely like that was a hard defeat to take. That was another hard defeat to take because it was like for me personally, I knew I wasn't on that court the whole time. Not the whole time, but throughout the important part of the game, like where the game I felt like was decided, I just wasn't able to be there because I picked up 2 quick fouls. So it was like to me, it was like a lack of discipline at that point, and just unfortunate. So that season is over. Senior year is over, and I'm getting ready to uh, go into college, like figure out what I want to do for college in terms of basketball. And so this is really like the big turning point in my career because at the time, like I played that summer still as an unsigned senior. Um, just to see what else I could pick up. But at the time, I had interest and offers from UNCG, VMI, and Queens. Those were like the top places that I had expressed interest, or either I could go play there as a preferred walk on, offer, you name it. So those were the top three at the time. But unfortunately, at the time, I was going through a very, very hard time with mental health. There was stuff going on in my family, so I was very emotionally immature at the time. And looking back at it, I mean, it made me who I am today. So I can't really sit there and get too sad about what was going on and how I reacted to the situation. But just being young, like looking back at it, like I was definitely emotionally immature in my decision. So regardless of me having those opportunities to go play basketball there, I felt like like I didn't really want to take any of those. And I wanted to go to South Carolina and as a preferred walk on, or as a walk on. I say preferred because at the time my uncle had a connection with the coach there, Frank Martin, and so I was like, all right, I got to connect in there. He had reached out to him, sent film over, so I felt like everything was gonna work out there. But throughout the time too, this is like when all the COVID stuff is going on, all of that. So it was rough, most definitely dealing with that. But just so more so too, like just my mental health was like bad. Now I'm not gonna attribute it all to COVID and all that, but there was stuff going on in my family, so my mental health just wasn't fully there. And when I got down to South Carolina, and it was time, like, to get there, I wasn't fully at myself. I had picked up a small injury when I was playing as an unsigned senior, but I wouldn't attribute it all to that either. Like I just wasn't fully there mentally. Made poor decisions, and so that ended up falling through. Like that whole walk on situation in South Carolina ended up falling through. So at that point, I'm like, yo, like once again being emotionally mature, I'm like, yo, like I'm done with basketball. Like I'm good. I'm good. Like, and it was coaches, it was friends, family telling me like, yo, David, like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, like it's no way. Like you're too good to just be done. And I was like, nah, bro, like it's not for me. Like it's too much. Like, I can't do it. And so I stepped away from the game. And just kind of decided to live like my regular life for like probably like a year and a half ish. And then to get back into the game, actually, because people would hit me up and to go play, or like I would go play at the rec center, or I would just go play places, and people be like, yo, like you're good, bro. Like what's going on? You don't play anywhere? And I was like, nah, bro. Like nah, I don't really hoop anymore. Like I just hoop for fun or whatever. And like I always felt though as if like I was good, and I didn't really ever lose that confidence. But I didn't know, like I hadn't found myself, and also I would attribute that too mainly to the fact that at the time my relationship with God wasn't close. You know what I'm saying? So when I talk about making bad decisions and all that, it was because I thought personally, like I knew what I was doing. I could do what I want almost, and like I just wasn't close with God. Like I wasn't following God's plan for my life at the time. Like like I wasn't, the decisions I was making weren't aligned with what I think God had planned for me. So that was rough too. Like I definitely like grew back from God. Just dealing with mental stuff. But so during that break of basketball, not playing basketball, was making the best decisions. But then I kept playing. Like I would play, like I told you, like with my friends or whatever, like rec centers or whatever. And one of my old coaches actually hit me up to like to come train. They would still hit me up to come train, to like go just like play competitively, like whenever they would have like people still in high school or in college just to play, like they would hit me up. And so I would stay through there, like stay playing basketball through there. But I never really thought about making a comeback at that point, right? Like I was like, what, it's whatever. Like it's whatever. Like I made my decision. It's whatever. And at the time, like I was pursuing my education too, which I'm not mad about either. I ended up graduating down the line with a degree in biology, a minor in chemistry, and business Spanish. So it worked out there from the education standpoint. But it was, the full turnaround was definitely in 2023. 2023, I got invited at Lab City Sports to a camp. It was like a top high school athletes and college athletes camp. And my coach Andre Speech from high school, and he used to train me too with Carl Baxter, reached out to me to come. And at the time when I got the invitation, I was like, like, why am I getting invited? You know, at first I was like, yeah, like I know I can still hoop, but like top high school athletes, top college, like, all right, bro, like I know I can hoop, like you've trained me, but like it's like, all right, like it's some names on here, like there's some good names on here, so I was like, all right, like you know what, I'll go. And so I got there, and like the competition was high, but like I rose up to that competition, and that's really what sparked my confidence back. Like I remember we were playing in those runs, in those top college runs or whatever, and Isaiah Evans, who's now at Duke, he was over there. He was playing too, and I mean I took the matchup and guarded him. And I felt like I was staying there. I felt like I could compete. Obviously he had some tough buckets. I scored too. Um, but that's really what gave me the spark. I was like, yo, like this dude is the face of Charlotte right now. At the time I'm pretty sure he was going crazy in high school, going to Duke, 5-star athlete. So all credit to him. I think he's an amazing player. But I was like, all right, like, like if I could hang with these guys on the court, like, maybe I still got it. So then after that, I just started training a little bit. Still was kind of like, teeter tottering between like making a comeback, not still like looking at what I'm gonna do with school, like jobs, this, all that. So I'm like teeter tottering there. And then my boy Victor, he hit me up with the opportunities. He was like, yo, like we're playing in this semi-pro league called the ECBL. Like, yo, we need one. I was like, bro, like I don't know. Like at this time, like yeah, I'm like I don't know. But then he's like, what do you mean you don't know, bro? Like we've been playing. Like you're good, bro. Just come on. Like just come on. I was like, bro, like what's it gonna be? I'm asking for all the details, this and all that. So finally, I ended up going. Right. And once I get there, like I'm not gonna lie, the first couple of practices, all that like was kind of rough. I had to shake the rust off, and like people were still kind of side eyeing me, like, yo, who is this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then like I took that personal too. Like I was definitely that was another chip on my shoulder. I took that personal, and I was like, all right, so they really don't think I can hoop. Like they just think I'm some random guy off the street. I was like, all right, bet. So I went in there, and throughout the course of practices, before the games, I like showed them who I was. Like, bitch started going crazy. Just started going crazy again. And every time I do say I started going crazy, I attribute it to hard work and discipline. Like most of the time, people see my highlights and they're just like, "Oh, David could just naturally do that." Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, it's times where I got to go in the gym, or like I'm getting kicked out of the gym because I want to go in there and just like work on something, even if it's free throws, like just something. Like I'm trying to work to get that slight advantage. So I went back in there and I played in the ECBL this past season, and I did very well. Like my stats were very well. I got nominated to the All-Star game for them. I think I ended up averaging 20 something points, whole bunch of rebounds, 15 rebounds, 14, 15 rebounds, something like that, something crazy. Um, and on great efficiency too. So from the field. So the one weakness I would say was definitely my free throws. I'm gonna work on that though, and I did good in the pro am. So I will put that out there. I did good in the pro am with my free throws, but um, yeah. So then after that, like I finished that season off, and I was playing too in the men's league over here in Charlotte. And when I was playing in that men's league, like I was just doing some crazy stuff. Like I was like they was throwing lobs, like I was dunking on people, like it was just crazy. The highlights are in my bio in case y'all want to go look at them later. But yeah, um, it was just crazy. And then after that, like I think that right there, like taking that leap right there, and playing in the ECBL is really what like jump started my career back up again too. And then I was lucky enough to, get invited to the program, like get into the program. So once that program came around, like I said, it was another point in my time where it's like, yo, like, who is this guy? This is David Pino. Like, what is he doing in the program? You know what I'm saying? Like, most people would like look and be like, yo, what is he doing? So we were on the team, and honestly speaking, the program, big shout out to Queen City Program. I had a lot of fun playing in there. But it was just another opportunity to grow in my basketball career. So once we first got into the program, like all my friends like saw that I got in, and they're like, "Yo, like David's playing in the Queen City program." Like David, like I thought he didn't hoop anymore. He's playing in the program, and so I went and I got into the program. And the first game we came around, I remember I didn't start, but I got into the game, and the first play, like I was like, not again. The first play, I caught the ball. I went to dribble and just slipped out my shoe. I slipped out my shoe, like completely just slipped out my shoe and like fell.
Oh no.
Yeah, like my shoe fell and I'm like, yo, like how am I? How? Oh, my bad. Hold on. Give me a second. I don't know if y'all can see. Okay, there we go. I was like, how can I start the program off like this? Like this is crazy. Like like everybody's watching this what I'm about to do. So I was like, unacceptable. So I got up, put my shoe back on. They were the Austin Reeves shoes. Big shout out to Austin Reeves, but unfortunately they did flip. Yeah, yeah.
Big shout
And
out, but
then
your shoes is just terrible.
yeah, like I don't know if it was the grip, like I don't know what happened, but I just slipped out my
Oh
shoe, like, and it
no.
was a good move. I had my defender beat, but I'm like, yo, like, like, come on, like, I can't be slipping out my shoe. That's crazy. First play of the pro am too. So after that though, I get back up and I end up finishing the game with like probably like 12 points, something like that, something modest, And but at the time they're like, okay, like the kid's all right, like he can hoop or whatever, he's all right. Like I didn't really make too much noise that first game. I had to dunk or whatever, but I didn't really make too much noise. But I definitely turned it up on the defensive side too. It is a pro am, but I was definitely trying to, hustle, get rebounds, all that. That's a big part of my game. So at that point, the next game comes around and I think that game I played a little more because we switched to coaches. But I don't know if I started that game. I want to say I did, or maybe I got subbed in early. But pretty much anyway, though, that game was like the turnaround game. That second game was the turnaround game because at that point, like I just started getting more comfortable. Like everything just felt more comfortable. I was up the rhythm, and I finished that game with like 12, 14 points again, but it just felt more comfortable. And then we went and played well with all who at the time that was the number one team. If you don't remember, I think that was the number one team seeding wise. I want to say they was the number one team, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. They were the number two team. Number two team.
Number one seed was the Sears group that had Warren Benson and Jabin Mars. Well, if I was like second, third.
Second, third. Okay, all right. So we went to go play them, and that right there, that was like the big like breakout game, like in terms of like points and like like just being me, like that was the breakout game because after that game I'm pretty sure when I met you, um, and that game like I finished with 16 points. It's on there somewhere on the Queen City program page. It's somewhere on there. Well, I finished with like 16 points, close to a double double, like 8, 9 rebounds, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there rebounds, good assists. But we won that game, and like nobody was thinking we were gonna win that game at the time. Like
Mhm.
nobody thought we were gonna win that game. And so after the game, like there was also a play where I had gotten a block, like I had got dunked. It was just overall like I was facilitating, like they were like, "Yo, this kid can hoop." So that was the game where I really broke out. And then afterwards, I got the interview. They interviewed me after the game, and that kind of like blew up, kind of on social media. Like people were like swiping up, like asking about that, like, "Yo, they're interviewing you." Like, "Yo, that's crazy." Like at the program, like, yeah. So um, after that, like it was just upwards from there. I kept going. I kept playing hard. Ended up my best performance in the whole pro-am was that one game. I couldn't tell you who we were playing, but I finished with like 30 points, 10 rebounds, four
Mhm.
assists, three steals, like three. It was crazy. Like stat
I
sheet
remember that
filled.
because I had to do a whole newsletter, and you were on the top performers.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, it was crazy. Like whole stat sheet was filled up. Like whole stat sheet, like everything was filled all the way up. And I was hitting my free throws. I want to add that on there. I was hitting my free throws.
So I want
But
to
yeah,
hit
yeah.
my free throws too. I want to add that to that.
Oh, I definitely want to add that on there. But so yeah, after that, like I was feeling great. Like obviously I was trying to stay humble and keep putting in that work. Like I was training out with my trainer at the time. He shout out to Vlad. He's been training me get right performance. So I was training with him, and it just kept going up. Like the last game, like that, not that 30-point game, but the game after that. Like I remember we went to the gym at the Harvest Center over there by the airport. We went in the gym and we worked on a move, and the move was come down if the defender's sagging off you, like hezzy pull up, three ball from the NBA, like from the NBA range. Like it was a hezzy and then into your pull up, and we worked on that for like the first 15 minutes of the workout, and I was like, all right, like I'm feeling good about it, confident about it, because that's the thing. Like I definitely wanted to expand my range, like be a consistent shooter, because that's what they're looking for at the next level. So we come down in the next game that we play in the pro am. I come down, first play of the game, one dribble, hezzy, pull, like from deep, just splash. Like, and my trainer saw that and I sent it to him, and he was just so proud. Like, he was so proud. He was like, yo, like, everything that we've been working on, like, you've been doing in these games, like I'm believing in you, confident in you. And so before I get to the end of the program, like I definitely want to say, like the only thing that really changed, like from me picking that basketball back up and hopping back into my basketball career at the time was my faith. Like most definitely my faith. Like I I think I don't think like I know that was the only thing that really changed. Like I started praying again. Like once I was fighting my mental health battles, I started praying again. I still got to do better with going to church, but I've been trying to go to church more and just praying and like trusting in God. You know what I'm saying? Like knowing really that I can't really control everything in my life, so I have to give it up to God and just being disciplined, putting in that work and praying. Like that's really the only thing that's changed. Like if you look at me now from like 3 years ago, like I still got probably not the same face, but it's still David. You know what I'm saying? It's still David, and the only thing that really changed was just like praying. Like it's really just praying, trusting in God's plan and going from there. So I definitely have to mention that because if anybody's asking for like the secret or whatever, like how did David come back? How was David so good? I would number one faith and God, discipline, and then just working hard. Like that's really the recipe. Like completely the recipe. Um so after that though, to end the story off with the pro am, the last game of the pro am, I came down and I was going crazy again. Um, three balls, like it was just crazy. Like I was just pulling up, like going crazy, and we're playing in the first round, and towards the end of the first quarter, I want to say towards the end of the first quarter, yeah, towards the end of the first quarter, the second quarter, no, first quarter, yeah. There's a rebound, and one of the guys lands on my knee, and like my knee like turns in, and I'm like, oh no, like come on, bro, like this can't be happening again. So I definitely knew it was something wrong with my knee. I'm not gonna lie, I knew it was something wrong with my knee. But at the time, I had like 15, 16 points already in the first quarter. I was like, like I'm playing the rest of this game, and so I get in there in the second quarter and I hit another three. I'm feeling good, like, but I know something is wrong. Like I know something's wrong, but I'm trying to play it off. And like the coaches know something's wrong, but at the time, like I had built a name for myself, and like my work has spoken on the court. Like people knew like I was good, so they were respecting my decision to stay on the court for a while, up until they saw like no, it's time to shut it down. So unfortunately, we were up 21 in that game, and we lost that game. We or maybe not 21, maybe it was 16. Well, we were definitely up double digits in that game, and it felt like a large lead, and we ended up losing that game. And once again, like going back to what I told you about back in high school, it was like, yo, like I wasn't there to contribute, and here we go again. You know what I'm saying? Now it's another problem. So the program's over though. I get invited to the All Star game. I can't play, so I coach because I'm dealing with my knee issue at the time when they fell on my leg. And so I go to the doctor, get an MRI schedule, all of that going on. And so I go to the doctor and they pretty much like tell me what's going on with my knee, like the problems or whatever. But like we haven't really come up with a structured plan, like if I need surgery or if I need to do rehab. Because at the time when I went to the doctor, I had planned to go visit my family and in Europe and in South America. So I've been gone for a while. I just got back home, but this next Tuesday I will go see the doctor and figure out what's going on there. But it was just pretty much like that really hit me hard because I was like, yo, like, and especially speaking about my faith, I was like, God, like, yo, like, what's going on? Like, I was doing good, like, I was praying, I was working hard. Like, why would this happen to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did I do? And then I realized, like, ultimately, once again, I need to take a step back and realize, like, it's all part of God's plan. So, regardless of the outcome of what happens on in this doctor's visit on Tuesday, like my head's so high. I know I'm gonna put in that work, continue playing, and just trusting God, honestly, like regardless of what goes on. So I'm excited for what the future entails. I've been speaking with my trainer, agent, and all that. So we're working there to see what the next step is to pursue basketball at the next level. But I'm definitely excited. Even though right now, like I can't really, it doesn't feel like I can move in terms of basketball. Putting more film of myself out there right now, just because I have to take a step back and follow up with the orthopedic doctor. But
Hmm.
I definitely I feel the hope and promise, and I trust in God. So that's really where I'm at, and that's my journey. I know this was a very long journey, but I had to
It's
tell my story. So
it's
yeah,
all good. I always like let the guests be like, hey, the floor is yours. Like I know like
mm.
because it's all good. But you got people be loving you because hey, bow, you got this,
Oh
you,
shoot,
you got this,
yeah,
you got this. Oh, I say you got this, then
yes sir.
you have this, and then
That's what's
this.
up. That's
So
what's up, man. That's
look at.
love. Yeah,
So my question for you is like because I was it's crazy because like we had met at the pro am and I was like it
yeah,
was crazy because I was like I seen him before on my Instagram story. I was like, well, let me. I was
mm.
like, are you this person? You like, yeah. I was like, oh, you was the one that be liking my face. I'm like, okay, bet. So my question for you is
Yeah.
like, um, and I definitely appreciate you supporting for real, like especially with this. So my question for you is like, what inspired you to want to support like women's sports and everything when it comes to like, you know, advocating for women's sports?
Oh, most definitely. So going back to what you were saying about liking your story, like at the time when I was praying, I definitely saw that you would like post inspirational quote, not just inspirational quotes, but like quotes from the Bible, like quotes from the Bible, and tie that back into sports, especially women's sports. And honestly, that inspired me, because I never looked at it from that perspective. So I would try to support. I've always been taught like when you see somebody doing well, you support. Like I don't like hating. That's something I really don't like doing. So whenever I can support, I'm a support. So I thought that was amazing with what you were doing with your brand, everything. So to answer your question in terms of how do I feel about women's sports and being an advocate for women's sports, like I definitely feel as if women's sports are getting more recognition, but it's definitely more that we could do, to foment that recognition within women's sports because a lot of key people in my life had taken part in women's sports. Like my mom was a track, she ran track. A lot of my trainers too at the time. Big shout out to Crystal. Actually, she's a head coach for Charlotte Catholic women's. She used to let me get in the gym, get in there, train with her. She used to help me out a lot too. And I seen the work she put in. We talk on a regular basis. So and just that, more so than that, it's just like I see more people tapping in, but it's definitely a lot I could do. I feel like with my platform, with my voice, with the people that like to listen to me, like to just hear me, to advocate for women's sports because I think it's just as important. Like you guys put in a lot of work, dedication, to reach your guys' goals, just like we do. Stay disciplined. So I definitely would like to use my voice and advocate for women's sports.
Like,
Mm.
hey, I'm here for it, praise it, bless it, hey.
Yeah.
So I noticed you like, it was crazy because when we like I would always like when we had seen each other, I was like, dang, like God zap it up, everything, like just and it's crazy because like you big in your faith, and I'm like, okay, this is dope.
Yeah.
Like very because in some ways it's very rare to find like say people that's in the athlete world that's big in their faith or like that's very vocalized in their faith. And my question for you is also like you vocalize about how important mental health is, and
Yeah.
that's very rare for like say an athlete, especially a male athlete, to vocalize that because there's always that stigma like you can't talk about it. So my
Hmm.
question for you is, you know, as an athlete and a black man, how important is mental health to you?
Uh, as an athlete and a black man, how important is mental health to me? First of all, I as a person, I think it's important to all
Right.
of us. To all of us, mental health is important, and there's a lot of people out there they're fighting battles that nobody knows about. You know what I'm saying? And I was just talking to my cousin actually the other day, like at the end of the day, it's you versus you. You know, like it's you versus you. When you look in the mirror, that's the only person you really, you got to try to be better than the next day. And it's a lot of societal pressures, most definitely, that affect us in different ways. You know, not everybody reacts to stuff the same way. You know, something that might be trivial to me might be the end of the world to somebody else. So that's the biggest thing I want to say is definitely be find that person, find that journal, find that resource, that outlet to where you could voice your frustrations. So as an athlete, I'm gonna go back into it in that subsection. I definitely think it's very important, because like I said, for example, when that coach is yelling at you, some people might just be like, all right, whatever, he's yelling at me, he's trying to get me to get better. But some people might take that stuff personally too. So it's like, yo, like you need to be mentally strong and you need to stay disciplined because more so than what's going on when you're training, when you're playing basketball. As an athlete, I think the biggest thing about mental health is the distractions. The distractions around you. So like most definitely, it could be girls, it could be parties, it could be just people trying to get you out of your element, like just trying to get you out of your element. So I'm not saying it's bad to have a girlfriend or to have a girl. I'm not saying that. But all I want to say is like it's definitely distractions that you need to but like you need to stay clear of, stay focused. And that's why I think like um my faith has helped me, because at the time when I told you I was emotionally immature, I was falling
Mhm.
into those distractions, like all types of distractions. So I think that's the biggest thing as an athlete to mental health, in terms of focusing in on yourself and clearing those distractions and also staying true to who you are. And then as a black man, honestly, there's definitely a lot of societal pressures that attribute to mental health problems. Um, Obviously, me personally, I had a good family growing up. My mom and dad are together, uh, and they paved the way for me to pursue my education and a life for me that honestly, like, I know a lot of people would kill for it. So I'm very grateful for that. And a big shout out to them for being there for me and supporting me. Even though sometimes, like, we would have our ups and downs, like I know they would always have my back. So I think that's helped me a lot, honestly. And I'm a big advocate for education. And so I'm gonna tie that back to mental health. Like I feel as if you pursue um, these resources that are available, or just try to pursue resources that are available to help you educate yourself more around in the world, your environment, what's going on. That way, whatever, I'm not going to say all mental health is attributed to this, but whatever is affecting you mentally, maybe getting more resources, getting more knowledge on the situation, speaking to people will help calm you down or help give you that avenue to express yourself and feel like there's a way out. Because I know at times, being uh I wouldn't say uneducated, but not really knowing um like why I feel the way I do, or like what's going on, like why is my life the way it is, like how can I get out of here, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating mentally. So I definitely would advocate as a black man, obviously, to pursue that avenue in terms of reaching out to other people, pursuing, other resources, getting other resources, and ultimately, I'm a big advocate for the stigma that it's okay, it's okay to not be okay. Like I'm not, we're human. Just because I'm on this podcast, just because so and so is doing well, it doesn't matter. We're human at the end of the day. So we both bleed the same, and we're human. So it's okay. And I definitely, if I could go back and tell myself something, it would definitely be that. Like it's okay to not be okay. Reach out to others, and just try to be better every day. So yeah.
Ooh, amen, amen. Because I always say, I mean, you probably see this a lot. I always say, like, so I always say, like, I have provided a platform, like a safe space for all the athletes, whether they're current or former.
Mhm.
Like a safe space where it advocates for them in their mental health. Because I always say, like, athletes are human first. Because a lot
Yeah.
of people, I feel like a lot of people think like athletes, like they're put on a pedestal where they have to be superhuman and be perfect all the time. But then it's like if they mess up, then it's like they're the worst thing since sliced bread or something like that. And it's like you
Yeah.
don't understand how much hard work they have to put in. Like you try waking up at 5 in the morning, doing what they have to do, a
Yeah.
whole schedule for a whole season, and then like you try going into a game where you're the one that has to hit the game winner and it doesn't hit, and then you're getting like yourself like overwhelmed or like thinking like, dang, I should have made that shot or all this stuff like ABC. So it's like you don't know how much pressure that is in. So it's like
Yeah.
sometimes you can't handle the game winning shot. You got to be able to like, you know, certain things. So, but it's just I wish people, like I said, I wish people would remember that athletes are human first because you know, at the end of the day, sometimes that sport, like, yes, the sport comes and goes, but like your well being, you as a human, is so much more important.
Yeah.
So my question for you is like, you got a chance to play at the pro am,
Hmm.
which you played against some of the like the best talents in North Carolina, and also like playing in North Carolina, the hoop state. So what was it like for you to participate in the pro am and get a chance to play there, and you were in the All Star game, but also just represent North Carolina hoops.
All right, so big shout out to the Hoop State first and foremost. I do want to say that I know it's a lot of debate going on about who's the true Hoop State. Like, where's the hardest hoops? It's North Carolina. It's North Carolina. I'm gonna
Period.
say that right now. It's North
Period.
Carolina. So big shout out to the Hoop State, and then more than that, I'm from Charlotte, so playing in the pro am was amazing. Like it was crazy. Like a little kid from Charlotte, like me dribbling that ball, like what was it, 15 years back in my driveway, I would have never imagined I would have been playing in some pro am, for for Charlotte. So the experience in itself, it was crazy. It was amazing playing against some of the top talent. Like I love competition. I love competition, and I set that standard to myself to rise up to that competition. I don't like backing down from anybody. So it was amazing at that point playing against the top hoopers. There was even NBA players in there. Nick Smith popped out, Miles Bridges popped out. So that was amazing too. Playing against some of them, and obviously I felt like I held my own, or I know I held my own. The work spoke for itself. I'm very honored to be nominated for the All Star game, uh, for them, and just in terms of just playing, like I felt like I made a name for myself. People know who I am, and all glory to God first and foremost. All glory to God, and I'm excited to keep pursuing my basketball career. So I think this is definitely. I'm very grateful to them for providing me that avenue, for putting my name out there, and I'm ready. I'm ready to continue on. So yeah,
For sure. I know that All Star game. I was like, dang, like this is taking forever. Like low key, I was like,
man,
it was
man,
like
yeah, man, yeah,
I was like, I know we ain't supposed to go overtime. Plus, they had the championship games, and I'm like, is
yeah,
somebody gonna make a shot? Like, I know this is like we not like this is we not on time anyways no more these days. We not on
yeah,
time. Nothing's on schedule on time no more. I'm like,
yeah,
who's gonna make the shot? Because clearly I'm
yeah. No, that was
like
crazy. That
everybody's
was
tired.
yes. Yeah, yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. But I mean, there was some good plays out there. I was happy to be a part of it. So it was fun. It was fun. But yeah, it definitely we needed to wrap that up. I'm not gonna lie, that game needed to be wrapped up. And we set a target score. It was a target score and everything. So I don't know what was going on. And everybody said people were clearly tired, like you said. But it was time to wrap that up. Yeah,
It's like wrap it up. Like we just
yeah,
everybody gotta go home. Like
yeah.
you ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get up out of here. Like you
Most
ain't gotta
definitely.
go home, but you gotta go somewhere because everybody's like
Yeah,
tired, everything. So and it was a long season, so it's like whole everybody want to rest. So,
yeah.
but my question for you is, if there was a scripture that would describe your journey, what would it be?
Just one scripture. I would have to hop on my phone for that one. I'm not gonna lie, because I'll be saving my scripture posts, and you know this because I showed you. I have like my notes out, and I read it before I like play basketball before I do anything big in my life. But there was one scripture off the top of my head. I don't know. I can't pick one. I really can't. My whole journey in life, I
or
would
just this
definitely
season,
this season,
or this season, yeah.
this season. Uh, one scripture. I think I can't tell you exactly what it is, but the scripture goes like this. It goes, "Lean not on your own understanding, but trust in God's will."
Oh, Proverbs 3, 5 through 6.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, that would most definitely be it because I couldn't lean on my own understanding. Throughout this whole entire time when I got back to basketball, like even though it's been a while, like I said, but just throughout the course of this year alone, just this year alone, like it was times where like, stuff that was going on, like I had definitely put in work to be where I was, but like I didn't know what that next step was gonna be. I didn't know I was gonna get invited to the program. I didn't know I was gonna do that well. I didn't know, like I'll be nominated to the All Star game. Like I didn't know like this would shoot my career back up. Like I didn't know. So, but what I did know was that if I kept praying and being disciplined and putting in hard work, like God had my back. And even to this day, He still has my back. And I really trust. I really trust in that scripture because, unfortunately, yesterday my grandma had actually passed away, and there was it yesterday, 2 days ago, September 3rd, 2025. But so I was like, yo, like God, what's going on? Like like first the knee, now my grandma, like
Mm-hmm.
yo, come on. So I had to sit down, I had to pray, and like even right now, like I'm happy to be doing this interview. I'm happy to be back home, and I'm grateful for everything that's been going on. So like I said, I'm not gonna lean on my own understanding because I don't know. I can't tell you the future. But I do know that God has a plan, and so with His will, like let it be done. So I'm gonna keep trusting in Him, putting in hard work, and do what I'm supposed to do. And I feel confident with that. I feel very confident about that. A lot of people, side note, a lot of people always think like, "Oh, David, you always so confident about stuff." It's like, yeah, because like I'll be praying about it, or if not, like I've been putting in work to achieve that confidence. Like confidence is a measure of how much you've been practicing. So I practice good energy by praying, by reading scripture. I practice basketball a lot, so I'm gonna be confident about what I do. So yeah.
Man, first of all, condolences to you and your family
Hmm.
because I felt that like I lost a grandmother last year. So like it just hits deep. Like it just hits kind of so deep to lose like say a grandmother or grandparents because especially like them prayers by your grandparents be hitting so deep. It hits a little
Yeah.
different when you receive like when you notice or hear you're like a grandmother be praying because it's like it hits a little
Mm,
different. So,
yeah. Yeah.
but
Most definitely. So I mean, I yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I appreciate the condolences, and I just know like definitely I was at peace with the whole situation. I was definitely frustrated at first, and I got sad. Like I'm a human, I got sad, but like I know she was a God fearing woman. She would go to church all the time. Honestly, like I would even joke about. I'm like, you always in church, grandma. Like Monday through Sunday, like you going in there every day, like but yeah, so she was a God fearing woman, and everything she taught me, she was definitely the one who told me to pursue like my education. Like she would always joke around and be like, "Now, David, make sure you're reading your books. I don't want you like out there being a bum or like not being educated, like out there doing all types of crazy stuff." So and I would always joke around, be like, "Grandma, I'm not gonna do that." Like but she would always make sure I would do that type of stuff, like read my books, be educated, and she definitely helped me a lot. And she was always be there for me. So I'm at peace with the whole situation because I definitely know she's in a better place. But obviously, like I said, I can't lean on my own understanding. So it was frustrating, but I know it's gonna work out most definitely. And I'm motivated to to be a better person, for her, definitely for her, and be strong for my mom too during this time. So I'm just keep going. I'm gonna keep going.
for sure, like you know, I think that's the fact that you're so calm about it too, because like, I mean, everybody agrees differently about it, but like the fact that like I don't understand it, but I know it's God's will. You know,
Mm,
I can't like, you know, and it's like that's real because like, you know, it was the same way for me. Like I lost, but then it's like she in a better place. You know, God
hmm.
needed her more than, you know, she lived a good life. You know, always you always have to think like, hey, they're at peace now. They don't have to suffer no more. They in a better place where they're finally at peace now. So,
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and it makes me smile, honestly. Like just knowing she's at peace, like definitely, like she's happy. So yeah.
but my question for you is, and I always ask my guests this question. So,
Hmm.
especially for the men's side. So, like, Bonafide means authentic, unique. But for the men, I always ask this. So, what makes Mr. David Pino authentic, and what makes your story stands out?
Okay. So what makes David Pino authentic? All right. I'm gonna have to start off with this. So back in I want to say it was 2022. Actually no, it was definitely before that. It was definitely before that. Sometime in college. I came up with this thing, and it was like Pino Island, you know, Pino Island. So it's like Pino Island. Like people were looking at me like, "Yo, David, what are you talking about, bro? Like, what are you talking about?" So my last name is obviously David Pino, but so Pino Island, that was the thing, and I felt like that helped me like just be myself. Like even though it sounds silly or whatever, it helped me be myself. Like just Pino Island, it gave me a name. I already had a name. Shout out to my mom, great name. I like my name, but so what makes me myself, like when I say Pino Island, when I say David Pino, who is David Pino? Like who am I look into the mirror every day when I wake up to brush my teeth, and when I look into that mirror, the only thing that really makes me who I am is just being okay with the person I see, you know? Being okay with the person I see, authenticity with what you mentioned, knowing that every day I'm gonna come forth and I'm gonna be who I am, and not let societal pressures, not let peer pressure, not let other people take my light away, and that's simply it. And it may come off as arrogance, or it may come off as cockiness at times, like when people are like Pino Island, like David, what are you talking about? But I'm just saying, like, it just helps me be me. It just helps me be me. And so more so than that, in terms of like character traits, I'm true to myself. I respect others. I do not like to dim anybody's light. I'm an advocate against hating. I hate hating. If you see what I did there, I think regardless, like we could all build each other up. There's no point in tearing anybody down. So I'm a big advocate against that. I like to give back to others a little too much sometimes. I get it a lot from people around me. They're like, "Yo, David, you're a little too nice, bro." Like, like sometimes it's okay to say no, or like sometimes like, hey, like take a step back. But I find more joy in seeing my team win. For example, seeing others do well on my team and win, than just me. Like just do better than everybody else. Like, and that goes with my family, the people around me. Like, if you're my friend and you're winning, I'm I'm honestly gonna celebrate more than if I was winning. Like I put in it into example. Like for one of my best friends, we threw him a birthday party 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, and I invited like everybody, and just seeing him happy like was way better than, for example, like me having my own birthday party. Like, and it's something simple like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just little stuff like that that makes me happy. So overall, who is David Pino? I would say somebody, a God fearing man who likes to see others win, and is here on this earth with a smile on his face to make others happy, and to be grateful. That's what I think David Pino is.
Ooh, let me get my little fan real quickly, but ooh, yep. I felt every single day because I'm like, dang, I'm like I'm a giver too, but then it's like, dang, like, am I giving so much to like,
Hmm.
cause like, dang, and then like you say, like, yo, it's okay to say no, like even if you don't have, it's like, yeah, but like you don't understand, like if I say no, then it's like, oh man, I disappointed somebody, or Like, and I'm
Yeah,
the same way. Like, I celebrate people's wins more than I say, like, or I rather celebrate. I be hyped about somebody else's birthday than like say if my birthday come around. Like, I don't know who's either feeling the same if my birthday come. I don't know who gonna hype me up. But I'm here.
exactly. Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
so David, can you let the folks know how where they can find you and follow you?
Yeah, so y'all could follow me on Instagram at David P1NO on Instagram. David Pino. I'm also on LinkedIn, Facebook, all types of social media is just David Pino. So if you want to reach out to me, if you want to find me, David Pino, P1NO.
Y'all heard it from the man here first, the king himself, David Pino. Y'all be sure to follow him at Instagram at David P number one NO. Like he said, be sure to follow him. And be sure you are welcome to check out the live replay of Bonafide Her Podcast, episode 158, featuring David Pino himself. Y'all be sure to check that the live replay after this. Big shout out to David for coming in and sharing your story. And big shout out to all the people that have tuned in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.